We are very, very pleased to introduce to you 5 innovative companies who are part of the 20-week Idea Refinery Accelerator program. These companies are working on making the energy transition in the region a reality and are here to show you what the future has in store. And let's see their journey across the past 20 weeks. Please watch the video.
The Shell Idea Refinery is a 4-month program. In the program, we empower the startups to a situation or status which they are impact investment ready.
We are trained in all aspects of running a business, how we can better market ourselves.
The mentorship is valuable. You wouldn't get anything like this anywhere else.
By seeing things from a different perspective, we begin to rethink our business processes, try to correct the weaknesses that we have, and turn that into our advantages.
We love the people. It's a very interesting camaraderie of conversation which happens, and there's a cross-pollination of ideas.
You have a product, but you need to have a business model surrounding this product in order for you to sell. We feel that hydrogen has to be the fuel of the future. We are a pretty new company, but our technology is very matured. It is time now that we can use what we have developed back then to develop a good product now. We definitely want it to go worldwide.
For us, sustainability begins at home. In order to be able to use energy smartly, we actually need access to the usage data of how much electricity we're consuming. With that kind of awareness, we can change.
Billion Bricks is a non-profit enterprise with a very simple vision to end homelessness in the world. We believe that we need to build an organization which would 24/7 think of creative ways in which it can be solved at a massive scale. So scale is very critical for us.
Our vision is to make the Earth a greener place to live in. We wanted to harvest the energy of the sun more efficiently. We actually test the concept at a very small scale, and it actually works. So we want to take the idea a little bit further.
We are a bunch of geeks that's trying to bring technology to the world. We want to accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles. We actually created a holy grail of how electric vehicles should be charged. Currently, we see very, very good results. It's better than we expected.
For Shell Idea Refinery Demo Day, we are both excited and nervous. We really want to make sure that people understand the impact that it could have in the world.
We're about 3 months away from a commercially viable model. What would be very helpful would be more partnerships.
Well, I think it's going to go great for us. So, right, it's a pretty new technology. It's meant to be disruptive. The last hurdle would be to get our prototype up and running, something that is real, that is for the investors to see.
We hope that we can get a lot of attention from the industrial sectors, the logistics sector, to get engaged with us, to do trial runs with us.
Of course, we are very excited about Demo Day. We are able to show our hard work, our product, to show the world what we have done for so many years.
One of the beauty of the program is diversity of the startups. Each of them is aiming to create meaningful impact on us as a society. So I think their success will be our success.
I just want to remind the geeks in the room. Where are the geeks in the room? The guys who consider themselves the geeks, and then the geeks are the ones who end up being the coolest people in the room. So I just want to remind you of that. Amazing. And I would now like to introduce you to the founder of Impact Tech, Kinneret Karim. Impact Tech have, together with Shell, been providing mentorship to all of these startups. Kinneret, the stage is yours.
Hi everybody, I'm the co-founder of Impact Tech, not the founder. Yoav is my co-founder. Thank you all for coming. It's a very, very exciting day and a very cold room. And as you saw, one of the startups, Billion Bricks, he has a tent and he's renting by the hour. So if you want to get warm after the session, you can enjoy some warmth. Okay, back to business. So today we're here. We're presenting 5 great startups that we had the privilege to work with for the last 20 weeks. I would like to say thank you for Shell for the opportunity given to Impact Tech for running this program for you. Thank you very much. And for Daniel and Theo, it was a pleasure, and it's still a pleasure working with you. Thank you. And for the mentors that worked with the startups, thank you very much. You did a great job. And for NUS, the other partner for the Idea Refinery program. So today, what will happen is each startup, they have about 5 minutes to pitch. And following, Yoav, my co-founder, will share some insights about the journey that each of these startups went through in the last 20-week program. After that, we'll have a Q&A. We'll call up all the teams on stage so you can ask any questions that you want, and you can also ask Yoav or myself questions about the program. And after, as you can see outside, the startups are exhibiting, and you can ask them any questions that you have, and you can see their technologies. Today, like Sui Chen said in the morning, is International Women's Day. And I'm very proud to be standing here as a woman entrepreneur presenting and representing my own company. And in the Idea Refinery program, I had Julie from Solarite by my side, accompanying me as a female. And since we're discussing the future here today, I wish to see in the future many more female entrepreneurs. So take that in mind, because there are many women here. So let's hear what, so we discussed, we had scenarios, and then we had a panel discussion, and now we can actually see what the future holds for us. So, is there, not working? Okay, so the presentation sequences will have Synergy start, and then following Energy Nova, Solarite, Triple Dot, and Billion Bricks. And then we'll have the Q&A. So, Synergy, where are you?
Hi, good afternoon. Just in case you're still wondering why I'm wearing such a casual dress, I can do that because I'm in a startup. So I'm CF, co-founder of Synergy. We are a bunch of geeks. Anita, the geeks is here. We are passionate to bring innovative charging solutions to mobile robots and electric vehicles. We believe that our charging solutions will help in wide adoptions of electric vehicles around the world. So I will, hold on, I need to go back a bit. So in the 1950s, the Automotive Association predicted that all of us will be traveling in autonomous vehicles by the year 2000. So we are just about 20 years late. That's about it. However, then I'm going to show you a short video about when in the 1960s there's a short cartoon that shows you how they would imagine us traveling at this time. Unfortunately, we are not going to fly around anytime soon. But the e-mobility dreams actually have 3 important parts in it. It needs to be clean, autonomous, and also infinite energies. So where are we now? We definitely have some clean energy cars. Infinite energies, nowhere near. And also autonomous. This car claims to be autonomous, but you realize that there is a big cable plugged into it. So every time you have autonomous parking, when you press a button and the car will park by itself, then you have to go down the car, pull a cable, and plug into the car. So there's no autonomous in this part. So what is the big problem here? The big problem is the batteries, because we have limited time use, limited energy in the batteries, and we have a long charging time. The car needs to park there for hours for a cable to be plugged into it. So someone would just say, get rid of the batteries. But this is not going to happen in any time soon. So, but we envisage that if we can't get rid of battery, can we get rid of the charging? So we would like to introduce a little bit of how we're going to do it. So let's go back a little bit of the charging process. So the charging method that we use today is two flawed method. The first is the battery swapping. Anyone remember that you still battery swap the batteries? The mobile phone get rid of it right now. Cable connectors. We still use cable connectors, but if you put it on a vehicle, it's like putting a leash on the car where it actually moves. So now we use this two floor method and move it into electric vehicles. It doesn't work. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the unnecessary thing and just focus on these two. So for these two mobile, what do we actually want to have the charging? We call it the holy grail of charging. So we want to have it autonomous, opportunity. Autonomous is when there's no human intervention during the charging. Opportunity and safe. I want to talk about opportunity. What is opportunity charging? Opportunity charging is that when you are driving your vehicles, when you park in the traffic lights, waiting for the traffic lights, you can be charged. Everything happens as a background. You can charge it while you're buying a pack of milks. You're charging when you pick up your kids. That means you're doing a top-up. You're stealing the charging every time you do a simple stop. This actually happens everything at the background that you don't have to think about it anymore. So we want to have a charging that you don't have to think about it anymore. So how do we actually do that? For electric vehicles, you need to have a pad at the bottom of the car, and then another pad receiver that is inside the car. It's the same for the mobile robots, where you have it on a stand or at a wall, another one at the vehicles, on the mobile robots. So this process allows the transmitter to transmit from the wall, from the grid, to the vehicles without any human interventions. So where are we now at this stage? So we have a 2 centimeter thick platform that it works, and an A4 size that is now attached to a robot that you can see outside. And I'll show you a little video of how it's going to work, a short video. Welcome to fully autonomous charging. So the key takeaways for today is that this is how we charge today. So we want to cut the wires, and we want to remove the hours that you've been waiting to charge your car. This is how we want to do it. We want to do it through wireless charging. And then it happens at the background that you never need to think about it anymore. So we, as a team, we put a lot of effort in it. We want to work with you. If you have a lot of robots in your factories, in the logistics centers, if you have a lot of golf carts lying around, and you want to integrate a new way of charging, come and talk to us. We would like to integrate our solution to you. We believe that once you use our solutions, you don't want to go back to the way you charge now. Thank you very much.
When I first met the team, as they shared, they were a bunch of geeks. Looking only at the technology, if it works, how it works, it was amazing technology, but only technology. In the journey of the program, our challenge was to ensure that they start wearing other hats, not only the geeks. The hat of the business leader, the marketeer, the business development, the finance guys, because all those hats are essential for success of a company or for success of the startups. And it was amazing to see how, with the help of their mentors and along their program, they start to wear a hat and another hat, another hat. And it was amazing to see their evolvement. In addition, timing is a key success for a startup, and their technology is in a perfect timing. Just imagine yourself in a year from now, when you'll have autonomic buses around the world. The bus stops at the station, charging is taking place, and the bus heads on to his way. No need to stop the bus, start to plug in wires, waste time, waste resources. So Definitely perfect timing with a perfect technology, with a perfect team. It was a privilege to work with them. Moving on to the next team, Energy Nova.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adek from Energy Nova. Before I start, just a very big thank you to Shell and Impact Tech for giving us this opportunity. At Energy Nova, we live and breathe hydrogen. Not literally, yeah. But so what we do best is using our technology to, we know hydrogen actually is the fuel of the future. I mentioned in the video before. And there's so much energy in hydrogen. So what we do is using our technology to harness this energy and make it safe and easy for everyone to use. So we know that this energy can be used in many industries, commercial drones, military operations, as well as off-grid. But what we really want to do is focus our attention on commercial drones because it's a really huge market. Current drones is actually limited by the battery. The flight time, there's a limit to it if you fly by using batteries. For us, we developed our product, H2BAT we call it, and it can at least achieve 3 times the flight time compared to current lithium batteries. And that's a lot of improvement, especially for commercial drones. Because imagine you are the one, you need to inspect miles and miles of these cable wires. It will be very good for you if you just fly an autonomous drone and let it run along the wires and see which part of it goes wrong. But the problem is you don't want to keep changing batteries because of the limited flight time. So this is where we come in. And I introduce to you our product H2BAT. We call it hydrogen in a can. The chemistry is very simple. It's basically water adding to a solid powder of our own formula to generate hydrogen on demand. And this goes into a fuel cell to then in turn generate electricity. The hydrogen on demand is very important because you don't get high pressure, so it's very safe. And it's a very self-controlled system. The chemistry is simple, but the design is not. So we have 11 patents. We have filed for 11 patents, of which 6 are granted to cover the design part. And this is our first prototype, hydrogen electric scooter, ES in short. For us, it's one of the first of this kind in the world, which we collaborated with 3 other organizations, namely Mobot, Temasek Poly, and Duralight Power. As a startup, it's very hard for us to do this on our own, which is why collaboration is very important. So our batteries, our H2BAT, has a lot of advantages over lithium batteries. Firstly, it's pollution-free, no tailpipe emission, high energy density, I mentioned before, small and compact. Imagine a Coke can size that generates hydrogen on demand. It's very easy to use, plug and play, cost-effective. You need 3 batteries to achieve what we can achieve with 1 H2BAT, and it's safe. It's very safe, stable at all kinds of conditions. I've mentioned before we have strong partnerships with research institutes like Temasek Poly, Duralight Power, but also we have a pipeline of customers, 2 of which are military organizations, DSTA Singapore and Poly Technologies China. We are featured a few times in the media, once on the Straits Times business section, as well as IPI success stories. But what is the strongest validation of a startup? It is your customer saying that I want to buy your product, right, before it's even developed. So for us, very simple. The operating model is very simple. We want to manufacture main bulk in a cost-effective country, such as China, and assemble in Singapore. Basically, this to protect our design. Then we work with fuel cell companies who then sell it downstream to the drone and other industries. For us, this essentially says that our profit margin can be quite high. Right. Even for small-scale production, we are looking at quite a good profit margin. So this, we did a lot of, especially for drones, we did a lot of market research. This has a lot of numbers, but I just want to zoom in on year 21, where the market of drones is really, really huge. So even a small percentage of the market share, if we can get, is between 200 million to 800 million. Of course, we are looking for funding because we have a very good product and a very big go-to market. So what we want is to have that investment coming in to take us to the next level. We have a very, very strong team, 3 PhDs, and not just focus on technical only. We have technical, R&D expertise, sales marketing expertise, as well as supply chain logistics. So this is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions, you can always ask me. If not, I'll hand over the mic to Yoav. Thank you.
As you may know, technology is not a product. And when I first met the team, well, they showed me the technology and I asked them, what's the name of the hydrogen battery? So they said, well, we don't have a name. So there was a big distance between a product that, of course, have a name, have a packaging, have a business model, have a practical usage from a technology. So the journey with them, and they did it fantastically, is moving from the technology through the productization process and make it a product. In addition, it was very interesting to see that they become very resourcefulness and open to opportunities. For entrepreneurs, it's extremely important not to be focused on one direction, but always, maybe this is an opportunity I didn't think about. Maybe this is an area which I need to explore. When they started, their focus was only on the drones, but suddenly a new opportunity came, and it was the electric scooters. When they started, the opportunity was not really in front of their eyes, but suddenly it came. And what you see outside is the first ever in the world electric scooter that is running on hydrogen battery. It was a privilege to work with them. Solarite.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those not from Singapore, welcome to Singapore. Well, I'm Terence Song, CEO, Solarite Private Limited, and I'm an inventor, and I'm also a serial entrepreneur. Among the startups that I've started, none is as exciting as Solarite Private Limited, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, our company's vision is to be the leader in renewable energy generation technology with the mission to improve your life and my life through renewable energy adoption. So we're into concentrated solar. That is to concentrate solar energy onto strips of solar cell and thereby enhance the solar conversion efficiency. So as we all know, green energy is driven because of greenhouse gases emission as well as global warming. And I'm sure we heard about that the effect of global warming and greenhouse gases actually causes the ice cap to melt and is accelerating the release of viruses from the ice cap. And that gives us a better reason why to adopt renewable energy right now. So we have a solution in this case that is to use conventional photovoltaic. But conventional photovoltaic runs into a number of problems. So here it is. Conventional photovoltaic run into the poor ROI of between 4 to 10 years, as well as a short lifespan of just 7 to 15 years, and the low efficiency of just 8 to 17%. Well, now, the common question here is LCPV or low concentrate photovoltaic a better solution? Well, in a study in Italy in 2015, it says so. Energy production mostly is better for LCPV than PV. But why it hasn't happened that a company or technology begin to use this technology extensively? Well, let's take a look at the problem that it caused here.
By concentrating sunlight at such intensity, you run into problems of high temperature, and the temperature can be in excess of 150 degrees Celsius. All right, and high temperature actually causes conversion efficiency losses as well as shorten the solar cell lifespan. So with that, we filed a patent on the 24th May 2017. So we did a prior art search to make sure that we don't waste our effort filing our patent at the end of the day. All right, so we did a prior art search and then we went ahead to file our patent. So this is what we do here. In this case, we use a layer of infra-reflective coating at a very specific wavelength that reflects away the IR ray that causes heat. And we use lenses to focus solar energy onto solar cell. And we also use a very traditional method, that is to use a layer of vacuum to prevent the heat transfer from the top layer to the bottom layer via convection. And of course, there are other deep technologies and trade secrets underneath this layer down here. So with this, the solar cell remains cool and converts solar energy to electrical energy. A little prototype that we've made. And now we put the solution back here. An artistic impression that we have made, and in this case, we replace expensive solar cell with cheaper refractive mirror. And concentration in the range of 50 to 100x, producing 400 to 800 watt per panel. Now, the common question here is this: is solar cheaper than conventional photovoltaic? Well, in the typical cost structure of a conventional photovoltaic, 57% of the cost goes to the solar cell. Well, in the case of solar, we only use high-efficient solar cell in the range of 20 to 24% efficiency, enhance that to 25 to 32% efficiency. So in this case, by using smaller number of solar cells, we reduce the carbon footprint and thereby ensure a positive clean energy. So now let's compare the cost of production of installing a 40 megawatt solar farm. In this case, to install a 40 megawatt solar farm, the cost estimate is $38 million. In the case of solar, we are talking about $28 million. And that represents a 30% cost saving. And how do we do this? In this case, we produce almost 400 watt per panel, and we only uses 100,000 panel. In the case of conventional panel, you need 137,000 panel. All right, now what advantages do we have over conventional photovoltaic? Well, here I'd like to bring your attention to the following. A lower capital expenditure cost, and we get stable and increased energy output throughout the day due to tracking, because we track the sun. And you can actually upgrade the solar module relatively cheaply. And of course, you can get better use of the land space due to vertical scaling. And what opportunity do we present here in the global photovoltaic demand? Well, first of all, solar is more efficient, we are cheaper, as well as more durable. And the global market size is estimated to be 140 billion by the year 2023. Some recommended deployment. And in the news, Saudi Arabia announced plan to build a 500 billion city, all running on renewable energy. Some letter of intent that were signed, and a letter of intent for 80 megawatt solar farm in Vietnam. Contract orders. And we met His Highness at the Asia Clean Energy Summit, who showed much interest, and of course we're also into the Shell Idea Refinery program. Our business model. I'd like to bring you to our team, our exciting team here. And of course, we'd like to pay special attention to our advisors as well. And of course, special thanks to Shell, Impact Tech, and NUS. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
SolarEye team are very experienced business people as well as entrepreneurs. They did a few things in their life. And it was a privilege to work with them and take them through a journey from a technology that actually worked to a larger scale technologies that can have a viable business model. And here was the beauty of connectivity between Shell to the startup. Because what they needed actually is this corporate and the mentors from the corporate to make sure that what they are doing is indeed what the industry needs. In addition, what they needed is the opportunity to go on a large scale and speak with the big boys, the ones who know how to set a real microgrid where SolarEye solution can play a significant impact. And this was the beauty of a large corporate that connects itself to the entrepreneurial community in the country. This is example why it's so needed. Well done, SolarEye. Triple dot.
Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Triple Dot Tech, and we're very excited to be here. Before I begin, thank you Shell, Idea Refinery, Impact Tech, NUS. Thank you to our team, as well as our compatriots in the program. Thank you to our mentors, and thank you to you guys for being here today. So Triple Dot Tech is about enabling awareness through smart metering. We're a new energy startup, and we're using technology to bridge the digital divide for the electricity utilities industry. Our mission is to drive awareness of electricity consumption in households and businesses by providing access to real-time data. So to introduce the team for Triple Dot, the 3 dots, myself, Santosh, and Alan, and we handle different aspects of the business. So I'd like you to watch a quick clip.
Everyone has gone to bed, but the lights are on and someone forgot to switch off the television and the air conditioning. Sound familiar? Electricity is being wasted, but nobody cares because we're not aware of how much this costs and how much is being wasted. Ever been shocked at receiving a sky-high electricity bill and wondering, why is it so high? Triple Dot's smart metering solution aims to change all that. Simply plug our smart meter onto the electricity grid in your home or business and access real-time electricity usage data from our mobile app. With data, consumers can be more aware of their energy usage and develop better habits to conserve electricity. Being more aware leads to an average of a 15% reduction in your monthly bill. In addition, there's a rewards module in our app that rewards you based on the amount of energy you've saved, because we want to help you save more. Be smart and save more with Triple Dot's smart metering solution.
So Triple Dot aims to address 3 problem statements. So I don't know if you guys can relate to this. Anyone ever receive a bill at the end of the month and you're like, huh? Right? We get that quite a lot here in Singapore, not just for utilities. But utilities currently are mostly postpaid, and we can only knee-jerk react to our bills 30 days too late, so that's 1. Secondly, meter readings are mostly done manually, and we as consumers are bearing the cost of this for every kilowatt hour that we pay for. It's also inconvenient. Lastly, basically we can't care because we're not aware of how much we are actually using and what's using the most. So I'd like to share with you guys this next slide, a couple of generic appliances that most of us have in our home. And I'd like to ask the audience, besides the Tesla car in the corner, what do you guys think is the appliance that consumes the most electricity in a home? Anyone? Fridge? We got 8 of those here, right? Air conditioning, fridge, anything else? Let's give a shout out. Washing machine, definitely. Heater, water heater. Yes. Actually, at our booth, we have a 1.7 liter water kettle. And a lot of people don't know this, but if you boil water an average of 4 to 6 times a day here in Singapore, that water kettle is costing you about $80 of electricity every year. So that's something to think about. Yeah. Air conditioning, water heating, and the washing machine actually form almost 60% of your household electricity bill. So that's some food for thought. How about the most inefficient appliance here? Anyone? No, not TV. TV has actually gotten quite energy efficient over the years. Anyone? Correct. I would give you a prize, but I'm a startup. We don't have any, so wait a bit after after Series A maybe. The light bulb. This 60-watt light bulb, incandescent light bulb, actually consumes up to $40 of electricity a year. So a big switch to conserve electricity would be to go to LED or fluorescent, which is slightly better. All right? So our solution to provide real-time access to utility usage data comprises a network of interconnected utility meters that's able to digest this data from households and businesses, as well as a cloud platform that pushes this data to all the stakeholders in the electricity supply chain. This includes businesses, consumers, gencos, and retailers. So if there are any retailers here, we'd love to talk to you, right? And the benefits are that we promote awareness, and it's only through awareness that we can change our habits. And that's what's key to energy conservation beyond technology. An example of the dashboard that a property developer or a property management company could manage through our solution to optimize their energy usage. And you could set quotas, you could turn electricity on and off to individual units or appliances remotely. This is a diagram that explains how our platform works, how the cloud actually digests the data from the meters, puts it into the cloud and pushes it both upstream and downstream. And we have a variety of interfaces from chatbots, mobile apps, and web platforms. So the mobile app and the chatbot actually allows users to manage and track their real-time usage. It includes a rewards program that, unlike a credit card, rewards you for saving and conserving or spending less. In the future, we hope that the electricity market will allow users to actually resell their unused credits back into the grid. So I'd like to introduce you to a short clip on how we use a new interface to increase or improve the user experience for users to check their real-time utility balance other than through a mobile app. So we developed a chatbot that's built on AI, some AI, and natural language processing in 2 days. So you could ask it how much you use, and are there better ways for me to use my electricity? It will give you tips. It will remind you when it's time to pay a bill, and it will also tell you if you're over quota. So come by our booth if you want to experience this. So in short, we're trying to drive awareness with data, with the technology that we have at hand today. And we hope to empower and optimize energy consumption for both households, businesses, and build up a positive cycle of consumer behavior. So be smart, come by our booth and have a chat. Thank you.
In order to have a successful startup, first of all, you need to identify a meaningful problem. And this is what they did. They identified a very meaningful problem for us as individuals, as well as the owners of small businesses. We are completely in the blind in related to the energy consumption. You can have a restaurant, maybe 6 air-conditioned refrigerators, etc. In the end of the month, you get a bill, and what can you do? Just pay. You have no idea how you can save, and maybe you can reduce the amount of air conditioning and keep the same temperature for your guests. Maybe you can have better utilization of your refrigerators, maybe replace them with the new models, which is more energy energy smart, but if you don't know how you can take action, and this is the problem that they identified. In terms of the solution, I can tell you in the first time that I met them, they had a great identification of the problem. Solution, none. I mean, they mumbled something, but I was not really impressed. But I was impressed from the team. And I was impressed from the problem that they identified. And I said, okay, they identified spot-on problem. And it's the right team to find the solution. And so they did. In addition, Triple team, their core strength is software. And their solution is software and hardware. And they did an amazing progress and an amazing job in creating a platform that involved the software and the hardware. Very proud of the journey that they did. And it's really nice to see how startups start from identify a problem and then go back, find the right technology and the right way to solve the problem. Billion bricks.
Hello, everyone. I'm the guy who's renting out the tents if you want to feel some warmth here. So I'm an architect, and I worked in the commercial design industry for about 10 years, building tall towers like these. In fact, I built in my 10 years of commercial career about 10,000 homes, each one for those who had a home, never for those who actually needed one the most. I worked in cities like Manila, Jakarta, Mumbai, where you would see pictures like this all the time. In fact, not pictures, but real people. And we would not have a solution for this. In fact, in 2016, after the Millennium Development Goals expired, World Bank came up with a report and said there are two biggest wicked problems that we are facing in the world. One is housing, and the second is climate change. There are about 1 billion people in the world who don't have access to homes today, and this number will double in the next 15 years, and we don't know how to solve it. And I'd had enough. I said, we can talk about how to solve it, but who's actually thinking about this solution? So I quit my job about 4 years ago, and I founded Billion Bricks as an enterprise to come up with what the solution will be to solve this housing crisis by using design as a primary tool and with a principle to never design poorly for the poor. We are a team of architects, engineers, professors, marketeers. We work with a lot of corporations who help us in many different ways to really come up with a solution which could solve this problem at scale. In our 4 years, we've helped 4,000 people across 8 countries get access to homes and really build solutions which we think will be scalable. But what's unique about our solution is that we work in areas where the impact would be large. In fact, we don't work in solutions where we think we will not be able to impact at least 1 million lives through our work. And we use design as a tool to overcome traditional dependencies because of which housing cannot be solved. It's a very complex issue which relies on partnerships with governments, on financing agencies, on design, construction, and we look at very creative methodologies through which we can actually cut all this red tape which exists and come up with solutions that can overcome these. The first solution which actually achieves it is called Weatherhide. There are about 33 million people in the world who actually sleep on the streets or in refugee camps, and they die every year because of extreme weather conditions. Weatherhide is the world's first tent which is designed to save lives of people living in extreme cold and extreme hot conditions. This is a picture of Khushi. She was the first user of Weatherhide tent in Delhi. She's 23 years old, was born on the streets of Delhi, always lived on the streets of Delhi, got married on the streets of Delhi, and gave birth to this 1-year-old child on the streets of Delhi as well. When I went after a month of giving the tent to her, she actually had put in a bed inside and made it her home, and she came in, and if anybody's from India, they would know what it means when she came in and touched my feet to thank me to give her the first home ever in 23 years. That's what a shelter like Weatherhide means to these people on the streets. Stories of Khushi went viral over the internet when Ashton Kutcher tweeted about it, and a lot of other Hollywood celebrities wrote about it. Now Weatherhide is in use in Los Angeles, Skid Row. This is in Europe, in Bangladesh with the Rohingyas, in Delhi, and in many other parts of the world. But what I really want to talk about here is Powerhide, because Powerhide is going to revolutionize the affordable housing market like never before. This will actually enable 200 million families in the world who don't have access to any homes at all for various different reasons while solving issues of climate change and energy poverty. 2 years ago, the Prime Minister of India gave a call to end homelessness in India. India has more homeless than any other country in the world, a goal so audacious that nobody in the world can achieve it. Even China, at its peak of building construction, was building about 1.1 million homes a year. India wants to build at a pace of about 5.7 million homes a year. If you know the infrastructure in India, you would know how difficult it would be for India to achieve it. So the 4 key challenges this audacious goal faced us with was the one is the increase in the pace of construction. The second, the fact that people can't afford homes because they don't have access to finance. The third piece being that if homes get built, the energy demand for those homes will increase about by 300%, putting in about 28 million kilograms of extra carbon into the atmosphere, which we cannot afford, especially the fact that India has signed the Paris Agreement. So essentially what PowerHide does is that it combines your homes with a power grid on your roof, generating energy. But the unique proposition of these homes is the fact that each home generates about 4 times the amount of energy that it needs for itself. The 3x additional energy is actually sold to the grid to finance the home. So today, people who can't afford mortgages and can't get access to finance to build homes actually don't have to be creditworthy anymore. They can access homes through PowerHide. It's really the home of the future. It collects its own rainwater, it cleans its own sewage, it grows its own food as well, and is run by an IoT app through which you can track the performance of the home on a daily basis and how your mortgage is being paid. It's built in factories to make sure that it's sustainable and it can be built fast, it's safe, and shipped to any part of the world. It can be bought online on a shop, and it can be shipped anywhere in the world. And it's the structure that we build, and it can be provided with a skin which is locally made. So this is in a place where, in tropics, you can build it in fields with local materials like bricks. You can replace them with stone to make sure that the thermal insulation is better. And a community of about 115 such homes starts to generate about 1 megawatt of energy, where it becomes like a microgrid. So we at Billion Bricks want to build about 20,000 of these homes or help 100,000 homeless in the next 5 years, where we'll be like a $200 million enterprise. We are currently fundraising $1.3 million to make PowerHide a reality, which we are prototyping in India and Philippines as we speak. And we are in conversations with the government of Sri Lanka to build about 15,000 of these in the next couple of years. So I want to invite you all to come in and join us in making a world which is equitable, where everyone has access to energy, and climate change would be a thing of the past. Thank you so much.
When we chose which startups to join the program, we had 4 parameters. One is novelty. You need to show something new in terms of technology, business model, execution, but something new. The second was business model and scalability. Make sure that you can grow the business and you have a plan for it. We want to make sure that the team has what it takes to execute their dream. And the last thing is the impact. What impact this startup will create on us as a human race? And what you saw now, Billion Bricks, this is impact. I went home after meeting Billion Bricks teams, and I was sitting and said, well, I met today a guy with hardly no budget, some budget from volunteers, from United Nations, from here and there, impacted the life of 4,000 people around the world. He changed their life completely, from no home to a home. This is impact. And I believe with the right support, with the right funding, with the right connectivity to enterprises, the impact that he did until now will be nothing like the impact that he's intent to do in the years to come. So it was really a privilege to know him, to work with him. Now what we will do is we will call Kinneret, as well as the other startups, to the stage, and we will run a Q&A session. You will be able to ask any question, any of the startups, or us about the program, to get to know us and the startups better. So, please.
Okay, so anybody that has a question? So we have the synergy with Ellen. Yes. We have the H2BAT From Energy Nova, we have SolarRide, Triple Dot, and Billion Bricks. And hopefully next year, the startups will have a lot of money. So Triple Dot can give out prizes, and Synergy can wear a suit. Okay. Yes.
Question for the Energy Nova team. So if you use the hydrogen in your drones, how much does it increase the sort of the time span that the drone can be?
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. It's based on energy density. Given the same size, same weight, that's 3 times.
Thanks. I have a question to Synergy. You were talking, your second point was about opportunity. And the vision you were describing was that you could actually be charging, standing at a traffic light or wherever. Now, the technology that you demonstrated looks fantastic, which is basically cable-less. But I wonder, what is the business model, or how does it work in terms of opportunity? Because basically, is it like spreading you know, the battery sheets at every traffic light? I don't think that is very, so if you could explain a little bit.
Opportunity charging is not something new. It has been used in trams and some of the buses on bus stops for many, many years. So wireless charging is just a way that we can actually adopt this kind of charging. So I think the business model that we would start is definitely the robots. So these mobile robots is actually working very hard in the factories to replace humans, unfortunately. But we want to use this robot even more. So currently, these robots, if you use for 6 to 8 hours, usually need to charge it for 4 hours. So what we are planning, what we are trying to do is to actually segmentize these 4 hours into smaller parts throughout the day, where you can charge while in the factories. So in the factories, infrastructure is not really a problem. If you can actually save a lot of robots by using this kind of opportunity charging. Thank you.
So I'm asking also the same team. I wanted to ask about the business model also. I want to know where do your revenues come from now, given that you're talking about wireless charging for cars, and currently the cars running with electricity are not that much in the market. So are you just willing to sell the patent, or how do you intend to get money from this idea?
Yes, a car is not a lot, but it's still a lot. But I think the market that we are targeting now is really the mobile robots. That is, Amazon alone have about 54,000 mobile robots in the world. So this is only talking about one company. So you have DHL, you have all the big companies, logistics, as well as manufacturing companies that already already using mobile robots. If you think about it, mobile robots is actually like a small EVs. So they are actually small EVs. So what we are doing is that we go into a ready available market first before we enter to a market that you say is growing. Thank you.
Hi. I have a question for Triple Dot. Like smart meters have been, the idea of smart meters has been floating around for quite a while. So can I ask, who do you think are your biggest competitors? And what do you think is your differentiating factor?
So just to, maybe I can explain from the business model point of view. Triple Dot's not set out to be a hardware provider. Actually, you're right. There's smart meters have been around for quite a long time, and many countries have started adopting them. But our solution is actually more tied to the what you would call the back end. So our revenue model actually would stem from, on one hand, the solutioning of the smart meters in conjunction with the platform that drives them, as well as data as a service. So hardware-wise, actually, we are agnostic. We are not a manufacturer. But our solution would be compliant with most of the meters manufacturers that are out in the market today. So I think that's what differentiates us from the hardware companies in terms of our solutioning and the value add.
Question for Billion Bricks. Could you give an indication of the cost of the home that's shown there, excluding the panels? And also, do you anticipate selling directly to families, or are you looking to developers to buy en masse and put them together?
So the cost of the home without the panels is about $6,000 US dollars. We think with the panels it's about $10,000 in the market. The energy which is being sold, we think there are three ways in which we can sell it. One is if it's very large scale, like we are doing in Sri Lanka with 15,000 homes, we'll be selling it back to the grid on a power purchase agreement. The second alternative we are looking at is where we do communities of about 100 to 200 homes, where they could be sold locally to a school or a community facility or street lighting or a local industry. And then the third is in off-grid locations, where we think that they could be a revenue generating stream for the families themselves. So if it's a farmer, they could use the additional energy to run the pumps in the field, or if it's a woman-led household, they could maybe buy some sewing machines and create revenue for them. The idea is to use the additional energy for economic generation, for value generation for the families. We would think, yeah, they would, yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Joshua from US. Thanks so much for presenting all of you. My question is directed to Billion Bricks. So it seemed as though through your presentation that your solution is a win-win one for almost everyone. So may I know what are some of the challenges you face and what's stopping it from being implemented on a much larger scale at the moment? Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, challenges are a lot, including the fact that I lost so much hair while doing Billion Bricks. Sorry? So, but I think the current challenge in terms of implementation, I don't think, I mean, we are currently raising funding, like I mentioned, about $1.3 million, which we think we should have a market-ready product that could scale. We are already in conversations with a lot of potential buyers of the homes as well, but once what they need is a proven technology. So it's only a matter of time to be able to find funding to be able to do this. And we've just gone into the market asking for money. So I'm not anticipating any challenge as of now. The only challenge would be funding to be able to make sure it happens.
Sorry, just building on that, with the challenges, is there no challenge associated with putting the power then back into the grid? So from as you're building those communities, so Sri Lanka, or you've got small kind of communities, translating the idea of, okay, we take that power and we use it in a local school or whatever, the reality of that, are there infrastructure partners, connectivity that you need to make that happen?
Correct. I mean, that's a very serious challenge eventually. But we generally, as an organization, take one challenge at a time. Right now, our challenge is funding, and then we solve the other one. The other unique thing about our organization is that we look at ourselves both as a B2B/G or as a B2C as well. So in short term, we think we'll go B2C, where we are able to build homes on a very small scale number directly to the consumer, and they can use the energy. And that's how we are building currently our first prototype in Philippines for a family, which will sell the energy to the local street electricity grid, street light. The one in India we are building for a family in a village, which will use it to generate income for themselves. Because the relationship with having a B2B and to be able to sell to the government, we are speaking to Sri Lanka for now 8 months. And the conversation's not even reached the point now the government's going to put the bill in the parliament to be able to do this. And for a startup, the cost of time is way too much, so we don't rely on that. In fact, if you go on our website today, billionbricks.org, we've got an online shop where you can order the tents that I showed you, and we can ship it to anywhere in the world. And we want to do the same with these homes as well, while we work on the relationships on a long term, which is very challenging on a separate level altogether.
Hi. Over here, sorry. Yeah, I have a question for Billion Bricks. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate you on your work done with weather height. I think, you know, for someone to step out and solve a problem in the world, even it's just a small effort, I think you went a great way there. And a very good example of frugal engineering, or Gandhian engineering is it called, there. Okay, so my question is towards actually Power Height, the project that you're pitching today. I actually, you know, as an engineer myself, I'm actually intrigued and at the same time concerned as to how you're gonna sort of like bring these microgrids, you know. You're promoting the idea of what essentially is energy sharing, right? You're talking about solar cells on top of every person's roof and then creating what I call communities that are power independent. But here lies the premise. You want to share energy, you want to use the surplus energy and direct it to places that are more needed, and when possible, sell it back to the central grid. How do you plan to unify this energy when you're building houses? You have the panels, but do you have provisions like, you know, a central storage, or how do you plan to basically move the energy around to others who need it more within, let's say, the microgrid, or even back to the central grid itself?
Yeah, so the way that it's working is that we divide the energy of every house into two different pieces. One is where it's actually stored in the house in batteries to be used by the families at night time. And then the 3x energy, which I mentioned, the additional energy, is if it's a community, then it's collected with 115 homes and then passed onto the grid separately. So essentially what we are doing is we are not getting into the business of looking at pushing the energy into the grid through our own systems. All we are doing is combining houses and taking the roofs and leasing them to an energy company which will run the solar farm. In fact, in India, I mean, that's the example which actually inspired the whole idea of PowerHide. India has currently plans to build 1 gigawatt of energy through solar farms over the next 7 years, I think. The amount of land area that needs is massive. In fact, if the 40 million homes that India wants to build through PowerHides are built, about 80% of the demand of those homes could be met with just PowerHides, that energy demand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I have a question for Solarite. So I noticed, let's give you a couple of questions as well. So you guys mentioned that the main benefit of Solarite is the fact that, you know, you only have to change out, let's say, the solar panel once the lifetime is over, so the mirrors can be in place for much longer. But, you know, one part of your secret sauce or magic formula is the fact that the mirror has a special coating. So how long can that coating on that mirror last, and how does it affect your supply chain?
Okay, let's address the part about the mirror first. The mirror lifespan is estimated to be 20 to 25 years, and there isn't any special coating. But we actually have a plan to do something to that to better enhance the efficiency. So what you have seen out there in my booth, that mirror is really just high efficient refractive mirror of above 95%. Yeah, so to address the part about the replacing of the Solarite panel, which is the small little thing that you see on top. All right, what we wanted to do here is that today we are using just between 20 to 24% efficiency. And as you know, we could actually be making use of higher efficient solar cell. All right, so someday when the higher efficient solar cell, let's say HT solar cell, or even the single junction solar cell were to plummet in price, and then we can leverage on that cheaper price and install that onto a Solarite panel. So instead of upgrading the entire solar farm, we can leave the mirror intact, we can leave the structure intact. The only thing that we need to change here would be the Solarite panel. So in this case, we can upgrade to a single junction solar panel very easily. Does that answer your question?
Big round of applause, people. For all the people on stage, for Kinneret as well, for all of the wonderful ideas that you have inspired all of us with today. I gotta say, I'm an MC and I would not be able to stand up on stage and have people ask me and challenge me questions about all of my ideas so beautifully answered by all of you. A big round of applause, please.